Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah, he's like, he says something like, you know what, I grew up here or something like that. And then Han's like, yeah, and you're going to die here too. How that hasn't been like at the beginning of some Midwest emo with like a high twang, like guitar starting to play is beyond me because I just heard that. I was like, man, that would have fit literally any pop punk song.
I don't know how heavy you go, Chuck, but do you listen to the Acacia Strain?
Yes.
Yeah, their first album, they had that song. I forget, it's like Mechanic Techno Death Machine or something is the name of it. And they have he's more machine now than man in that one.
Nice.
My assumption would be that Lucas was just like adamant that he would not license out anything. But back then, nobody was stopping him.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, they were just a bunch of no-name bands trying to do shit.
Yeah.
Stealing art.
Yeah.
Good times.
Oh man, I love all the emo bands and the death metal bands that just throw random lines from movies in. It's the greatest.
It's the best. It's the best.
Love
Boondock
that.
Saints just randomly every fucking time for no reason.
Yeah, I know, right? Like bleeding through. It was a firefight.
Brothers, sisters, and rebel scum. Welcome to the conclusion of the main saga, the only saga that matters.
The OG trilogy, one might call it.
Yeah. Is this is not the end of is this the end of the Skywalker saga?
No.
So the last three still count?
Yeah, they retroactively called 7, 8, 9 the part of the Skywalker saga.
Literally every mainline movie is a Skywalker saga movie.
Yep.
That's really rude. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we get into it, let's do a little Elite Eight showdown here.
Oh boy, here we go.
We're recording.
Yeah, we've been recording for a while.
Look, I finally listened to you guys, and as soon as everybody was here, I hit record.
See, Ron was confused because normally we do the whole episode without recording and then record it afterwards.
That's true. Yeah, we got to do a dry run. He gets confused. Anyway, oh, by the way, I'm the person that does the introduction. I am Chuck. Jordan's here. Joe's here. Ron's here. So look, a little Elite Eight showdown. This may actually even play into a bracket. I have some recording coming up soon, finally. So if we can get the last of these episodes done, maybe in a year he'll release them. Who knows? The first three, so 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, as the best standalone. I don't know if standalone is going to be the bracket, but essentially the last great fandom trilogies.
Original 4, 5, 6.
Definitely the original.
Wait, are you saying for which one is the greatest? Or are you saying is one of them
of these two? Which one do you argue is the better of the two?
I mean, don't get me wrong. The prequel trilogy is good. There's a lot of good, and over the years, people have come back to it and found like their love for it has grown. But the original trilogy, without those 3 movies, we wouldn't have the Star Wars we have today.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. The only reason why 1, 2, and 3 have gotten so much hype was because we had nothing for so long after them.
That's not true, because even after
that's why they got the hate.
It.
Yeah, I feel like that's why they got the hate is because people had waited so long. I would argue, though, if 4, 5, 6 never came out and the Star Wars franchise started in 1999 with 1 and went 2, 3, the third one, just like the Hunger Games series, would have been a TV movie release. I honestly think that it would not have landed because I think that everyone did not like the Phantom Menace so much that if we didn't have the goodwill of the original trilogy, we would have never made it through all 3, and it just would not have stuck around as long as it has.
I can agree with that.
Honestly, the first one probably wouldn't have made it because it wouldn't have had the fanboys going out to see it, even if they were just wanting to shit on it, because it would have been nothing. They would have been like, who the fuck is George Lucas?
Yeah.
I would genuinely argue that that's probably what saved it, was that fanboys being mad about it and getting on the internet and bitching about it still saved the Star Wars franchise when the prequels came out, because it still had people going and seeing it.
What I think saved the prequel trilogy is their decision a year or two prior to release the originals in theaters, because I think what kept this going are our generation as children knowing the originals but not getting to experience them,
Mhm.
and then getting to experience Star Wars for ourselves in theaters the first time around. I think the older generation went off the Star Wars bandwagon during that prequel trilogy and were like, I'm done with this. I think we're the ones who kept it alive. We took the baton from them and we kept
Mhm.
running.
Yeah, it's millennials' fault. That's what I keep
Mhm.
hearing.
Our avocado toast and Phantom Menace, it's really
Yep.
what's ruining the
Yeah, it's
economy.
destroying the economy. Yep,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, it tracks.
All right. Anyway, so welcome to episode 6, Return of the Jedi, or as I like to call it, Luke stands around like a fucking dork while everything bad happens around him.
Not wrong.
He's
Actually.
introspective. He's a Jedi.
Now
He's
that
introspective.
now that you said it, I can't disagree with that because
Yeah,
that's all
I
I can think of now.
I kind of forgot about this. I don't really like this movie,
Mm.
and we'll get into it as we go along, but Luke sucks. Luke is not a good character in the span of any of
Well,
this.
to be fair with this one in particular, it was one of those movies where they were alluding to him going to the dark side heavily.
Yeah.
And so like him
I would argue
becoming an asshole kind of fits that persona.
I
think
would
about it, though, it
argue-
could have been worse. He could have had hair coming down across his eye like this and danced through the streets. So
Doing that.
We'll get there eventually.
I would argue that he had already turned at one point, because he does some shit in this. Then I'm like, yo, that is blatant like dark side
force
shit.
choking.
I
He
never
straight
realized
up
he forced
Yeah,
chokes
same.
before Gamorrean guards. I
I
never realized.
I
that.
remember that at all. I don't
really
remember
thought he
him
just
force
like
choking at
made him
all.
go to sleep, like just like.
Oh, he made him go to sleep, all right.
But like, yeah, he just like,
Batmaned him real hard. Yeah.
Sleeping.
Yeah, I seriously remember this like from when I was young, that he just like pushed them away.
Yeah.
But rewatching, he like chokes him out.
hmm
And like the
I'm pretty
force
sure that
push
he
makes
actually just
sense,
he doesn't even choke him out. He like just like breaks like
Well, no, 'cause
collapses their throat.
he like
Because
shows
he
them
does it
because
real
there's-
quick. He goes
there's
like
that-
this, and then like that to both of them, like in quick succession. It's not like the Vader where he's like, you know, give him
that
a little tickle
that
under.
just proves that Luke is more powerful in the Force.
Well, hang on. Then this brings up a question that that made me wonder with the like logistics of his powers that he has in the Force. So he's able to force choke these two dudes to get out of it. Why doesn't he just force choke the Rancor? Is it a size thing? You can't force choke large things? Like why
He
doesn't
couldn't concentrate on it, maybe.
There is a lot of questions I have about if he's this great fucking Jedi Knight warrior master. Why the fuck can he do most things? Like when he's in the trap.
Because he's a Jedi Knight like his father before him, not a Jedi Master.
Well,
Okay.
it's almost like too stupid in the sense too that like I think they're supposed to be alluding to the fact that like he's so powerful he could just take out like Vader and the Emperor if he wanted to, but he's showing restraint because that's what a Jedi does, and I'm like, I don't buy that, but I feel like that's what they're trying to sell us.
Yeah, those two. I mean, we obviously saw. I mean, he didn't put up a fight there at the end against Palpatine, but the Emperor just force lightning him almost to death. So I don't think he could have actually stood up to
I think
the
he
Emperor.
could have. I think he was doing like a Solomon the King in the Bible thing where he's like, I'm going to sacrifice myself to get my father because I know he's going to say, like, it's almost like he was really like, and again, I don't agree with this, but I think that was the thought process behind it, that like Luke could beat both of them. He just decided not to get his father to come back to the light side. Kind
Well,
of.
and also when he saw after he chopped off Vader's hand and obviously saw the mechanics, it's like, oh man, we both have metal hands.
Yeah, it's like that was the equivalent of the Martha. My mother's name is
I got
Martha.
your squinty eye and your metal hand.
Yeah,
Pop
I
over
agree.
again.
Luke is really annoying in this movie, and I just want to get it out on the table right now. I've always said this was my favorite of the original series growing up. Watching it again now, objectively, this movie is totally the worst. Like, it's super unimaginative. Like, they're like, hey, what do we do for this one? The Death Star 2. hey, what do we do again? Another trench run. Hey, what do
Okay.
we do? Like, it's just like
So-
the same thing over and over and over and over.
Chuck,
again.
I want to get to your point because I know you want to say something, and I'm sorry we keep interrupting you.
That's okay.
However, looking through IMDb, apparently originally this was supposed to be the introduction to the Death Star.
Mm.
It wasn't supposed to be in A New Hope, but for I don't know budget reasons or the studio reasons, they put it in there. Lucas put it in A New Hope to pad the movie, I guess.
Okay.
So
will
had
say
this
that-
been the original appearance, the first appearance of the Death Star, now obviously because of the first one, they reworked how the scene was going to go. But if that would have been the original, seeing the Death Star, I think I would have liked that.
Yeah, well, it just makes me wonder, like, everyone who gives Rise of Skywalker crap, they're like, somehow Palpatine returned, and they're like, wow, that was really stupid, like, way to just exposit, like, a whole plot point, but I'm like, they kind of did that in this movie.
They did.
as well. They did the
So
same
I'm
exact thing.
right there with you. This was my favorite of the original trilogy, and after this watching, I'm like,
Yeah, it
it's
knocked
not-
down
it's
a
my
few pegs for
favorite,
me. It's kind
yeah.
of unfortunate.
So,
Yeah.
do you suppose that this one is the reason we have furries?
Mm,
no.
I think
also-
Lion-O is the reason we have furries.
All right, Chuck, go ahead and say what you're gonna say because we kept cutting you
Okay.
off.
Two things.
Mhm.
One, this is why Luke is the worst fucking character in the entire thing. And it was the moment of just like I was in the kitchen and my mom hears me and just goes, "Are you fucking kidding me, you dweeb?" They get trapped in the net, right? Chewbacca grabs the meat because he's thinking with his stomach all the time or whatever,
Sure.
and they get trapped in the net. And what does Luke immediately say? Han, can you reach my lightsaber? Motherfucker, you have force grab!
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. His powers come and go as the
Also,
plot.
the
It's
fact
not.
that-
It's not his powers. It's his mental capacity.
Mm.
Right there. Also,
Because
the
he's
fact
just a
that,
dumb farm boy.
that R2 cuts that one little section, and the whole net just opens up. That's a terribly
Oh,
made net.
No,
It's
that I
because
can actually
it's-
attest to. If you've
Yeah,
ever had
The
a
weave
big
of the
bag
net actually does
clams,
that.
that it immediately
Okay.
happens. If you cut the string just right, whole fucking clam thing just opens up and it goes all over the floor, and then everything smells like clam. Yeah,
Okay, fair
smells
enough.
like
Empty
it
clam
smells like
shuffle.
Ron's bad date most of the time, and it's just unpleasant, and I hate it, and it's the worst.
I take back my criticism of that. Though.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I had no idea.
It does happen like that
Okay.
sometimes.
Yeah.
It'd be like that.
Okay,
It'd be
second thing.
Second thing, I understand. I've watched this movie enough. I to this day will never be convinced that they were rebuilding a new Death Star.
Thank you.
It always looks like it's like, oh, we just found all the scraps and we're trying to put the broken one back together.
Honestly,
So-
that would be a fine plot point to me. Like, I'd be totally okay with
Because-
that.
When you read the scrolling, it said they're building a new piece of equipment that was more deadly than the dreaded Death Star or whatever, and you're expecting it to look different, and it's like, oh no, it's just a Death Star, except for now it's been blown the fuck up.
Yeah.
Well, that's because
And
it's
why all of a
not
sudden it's still
complete.
true? Like, why is it still somehow operational?
Because
Because
they
it was a
made sure the
trap.
lasers worked
Did you
first.
not hear what Admiral Akbar said? It was a trap.
It's a
I
trick.
almost-
It's a trap.
Yeah. From my understanding, and I think this was stated in one of the novels. I don't remember. I've read too many novels, too many of the comics. But they're making both Death Stars at the same time. Because if you think about it,
Mm,
there's
mhm.
no way in hell that they built a Death Star, a brand new Death Star, in 2
3
years.
Yeah,
3
like 2
years?
3 years.
Yeah.
And a bigger Death Star, not just
big-
a new
yeah.
one, a bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this was like the super like planet destroyer.
According to IMDb, it was 460% larger than the first Death Star.
Yeah.
And then when we get to Force Awakens, we get Starkiller Base, which is like 10,000th time larger than this Death Star
But
because it's a
to be
fucking
fair,
planet.
they just used a planet. Like, they were like, all right, we're just gonna build inside of a planet. It was kind of like pretty much the iPhone coming out. They're like,
Yeah,
eh.
that's fair. So
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's unfortunate that this movie, when you rewatch it as an adult and you kind of don't have the, I wouldn't say nostalgia as heavy. you do start seeing how this movie was like, and not to mention, so like the first two are pretty serious movies. This movie seems to not take itself serious at all. Like Han's just like quip, 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 and there's like little Ewoks and da da da, and I feel like everyone's just kind of palling around and doing whatever.
Okay.
Well, and I mean, it's famously Harrison Ford didn't want to be in this movie.
No, he wanted them to kill off Han. I know. Yeah.
And then obviously the Ewoks, which funny enough, they never actually say Ewoks in the movie.
No, we all know. And I mean, I'm not.
Well, that's from the cartoon.
It's from
they get named in the cartoon, I believe.
The cartoon and the 2 Ewok movies that came out afterwards.
Right. I'm sure the toys from Kenner were labeled Ewok.
Yeah. I'm not hating on the Ewoks because I mean I have a Wicket Funko Pop. I love the Ewoks, but I'm just saying,
so I think it's a generational thing because like millennials, I know like them, but this is the thing that always makes me laugh. Okay, and maybe it's just because we were millennials and we grew up during a very specific war that happened. But the idea that everybody's like, "There's no way that the Ewoks could ever take down the Empire." Really, really. You're telling me that a bunch of dudes with like head wraps and in pajamas are capable of taking down a giant military complex? Oh yeah, totally not possible at all. Like, what are you talking about?
This is an allegory for the Vietnam War.
Yeah,
it's also the war in Iraq. Like, literally the war in Iraq.
But when Lucas made this, it was mimicking the Vietnam War. Like the Empire comes in.
Right
to the Force Move Endor to try and invade, yada yada yada. America goes to Vietnam to try and invade, yada yada yada. The natives wreck house.
So, and do you guys suppose that the stormtroopers that survived that battle went on to tell everybody that they fought Wookiees instead of Ewoks?
I did kind of wonder at this, like,
because like, could you imagine? Could you imagine being that dude and being like, "Oh, you guys were, on the Yavin moon, like, how did it feel to get beat up by teddy bears?"
Yeah,
Endor, yeah.
Originally, they were supposed to be Wookiees, not
Yes.
Ewoks.
Yes.
So it's kind of funny you bring that up because they were supposed to be Wookiees.
Yeah, that would have made more sense.
Well, then they changed it because they didn't want to confuse audiences. I can't remember.
Hire real actors and decided to get children, little people instead.
Hey, some of those were real actors.
They were real actors. Kenny Baker.
Okay. Sure, Kenny Baker.
Warwick Davis.
Well, so funny enough,
the majority of the extras were just like children.
Sure, but they actually got a lot of little people actors for this one. From what I read, 10 of the main Ewoks were legit actors, and then the rest were, children and all that.
If we're talking about Ewoks, I'm going to state it now because I still, after watching this, believe it. Because remembering this, the saddest moment in movie history to me ever, which I still agree with, is when the 2 Ewoks are running and the gun shoots them.
Yep.
And then the one Ewok trying to wake up its friend Ewok, and then they're dead. And it just is so sad.
Yeah.
When I watch that, I'm like, this is the saddest moment in movie history to me.
Yeah, it's what the ASPCA built all of their commercials off of.
Yeah,
like, it's 100%. Like, I've seen clips where they put the Eyes of an Angel like playing in the background.
Yeah.
Fucking, that's great.
So there was a scene that you mentioned earlier with Han and Lando talking. You made mention those on the barge, but when they're in the hangar and Han is telling Lando to take the Falcon, and he reluctantly does. When they get into the ship, Han looks at the Falcon, and he gets this feeling that he's not going to see, he's never going to see it again. Technically, he's right, because the next time we see Han canonically, he hasn't seen the Falcon for 30 years.
Yeah,
well, 20 years, but
I think that there's going to be some story.
I know, but
yeah,
there is. I mean, Aftermath, he's back in the Falcon, but I'm just trying movie-wise.
I mean, I for some reason remember that thing blowing up. I don't know why.
I thought so too.
Really?
I also thought, whose bright idea was it to take the Falcon into a tight space like that? I'm like, this is the most bulky. Like, I get
because it's the fastest ship in the fleet.
But I don't think you need to
explain to me how that thing outruns an X-wing. My brain could not comprehend it.
So it's got a plot generator inside of it, which makes it go faster.
A bunch of
Oh,
walruses,
I thought they were seals.
seals, whatever they were in
Okay.
South Park. I don't remember.
Oh, love it. Love it.
So I have a question for you guys. Jumping back to the beginning of this movie, when C-3PO and R2-D2 were given as gifts to Jabba, and then they go through like the droid torture area. There's a gonk droid who's being turned upside down, and then his like feet are being burned, and he's like
Mhm.
yelling in pain. Does this mean that we are cruel enough that we created droids to have a receptor that tells them when they are in pain?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
That I imagine that's something you would leave out of a droid.
But that's why droids,
Because
when they
all
die,
the
they go
time-
on the kill count.
Okay.
All
They
the
have
time,
feelings.
3PO is like, "Oh, I hit my head," or shit like that. But speaking of 3PO, 3PO is that one employee that does as little as possible to get through their day, and gets so irritated with the other employees that are trying to go above and beyond. And that is just him and R2 just all
But
the
see,
time.
I disagree because he's always like willfully giving up the fact that he speaks so many languages.
Oh,
Like,
no,
he's
no.
always there to help.
Joey, that is the exact thing that the employee that does the least amount possible does. They talk their shit up, they hype themselves up, but when push comes to shove, they do very little.
Okay, fair enough.
I could see that. I could see that. Also, so I didn't think rewatching the Sarlacc, adding the Sarlacc like worm thing in. I was like,
yeah.
Hate it.
I was like fine with it. I think the most egregious thing was that song break we had. Where
Oh,
like,
yeah.
100%.
what
I hate it
why?
so fucking much.
Why?
I kind of like it.
You would.
Why? I just don't get why it
It's
needed
not
to
needed.
be
It's
there.
100%
I
not
like the
needed.
song,
I
but
do
it's
like it.
not needed. It makes
Because
this
how
movie
are we
way
going to have a
better.
serious movie without a ridiculous
This
music
movie is
theme?
for kids. You don't need to have it.
I guess.
You
I
know,
just think
I understand the first two are serious, but this is a movie for kids.
yeah, I guess that's true. But then
But-
that makes me think then if jazz in Star Wars is called jizz,
Jizz.
does that mean the blues in Star Wars is called Jews? Come on, Lucas, give us an answer.
Yep, I know
So-
what clip I'm pulling out here.
Anyways, there we go. We're getting flagged now, guys.
Hey, it's talk to Lucas about it, man. He's
But-
the one who decided this.
Fuck. So, going back to
Holy shit, that was funny. Holy fuck. All right. Anyway, sorry.
Rope check.
Yeah, Ron, anyway?
yeah, wow.
Oh, I like that. I thought it was good. I'm with you, Jordan. I don't know.
When did anybody else get the feeling when Vader shows up? That's like when corporate shows up to your office for like
Oh,
a surprise
Very beginning.
thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Like that
And, like-
commander was like, "But sir, like, what are you doing here? Oh, the Emperor's coming. Oh, he's coming here.
I love
Oh, no.
I love how Vader shows up and he's like, "Hey, you guys are like behind schedule. Can you like hurry it the fuck up?" I was like, "Oh, I'll get done." It's like, yeah, maybe if you didn't show up, maybe these guys stand here. Like,
Well, it's funny. Vader shows up and there's like 8 stormtroopers, and then the Emperor shows up and is like literally the whole base is.
It's everybody that can fill space. Yeah,
But that's corporate America. I was waiting for Darth Vader to be like, "I'm Mike Rowe," and I'm sure.
oh man.
Oh.
But speaking of earlier in the film and Jabba and all that, you would think when Luke shows up, says he's Luke Skywalker, Jabba would remember who Anakin Skywalker is and what he did for him, saving his child and all.
Jabba has a lot going on, man.
Sure, but it's his
Jabba
child.
does a lot of drugs.
Well, that too.
haven't we already figured out that Skywalker is like Jones in the Star Wars universe?
Myth.
Everybody just
we
has
say
that
that?
name, and
We thought that it's probably that because there's too many people that should have recognized the Skywalker name that didn't.
yeah,
Fair. Okay.
Like anybody that was ever on Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever
Right.
been confused about the logistics of the Sarlacc, though? Because they, in my child brain, they were like, "Oh, you'll be slowly digested for 1,000 years," and
You'll
and
be
I'm
dead
like,
before that's.
I was
fine.
like, "Yeah, you're gonna die in like 3 days from not
It
having like,
takes-
water."
yeah.
That means that it takes longer for you to digest in its stomach than it would for you to naturally decompose.
Yeah, but that's what I'm just like, you wouldn't be digested for 1,000 years. Sure, your body would, and maybe the idea of your body, like maybe that's what's so scary about being a zombie is not the fact that you died, but that your body continues on after you're dead. Maybe it's like, oh, I'm dead, but like I'm still slowly being desecrated by the stomach acids of this like pit. I don't
This was
know.
actually Lucas just planting the seed for the Book of Boba Fett later on.
Sure.
Because if it didn't
Actually,
take
no.
that long, if it didn't take that long for him to be eaten alive or digested, then he could have, he possibly wouldn't have survived the 20 seconds that he was in there.
So no, he actually originally killed him off, but the character became so popular that
Which doesn't make any sense at all.
How? Literally
Why?
on screen for 5 minutes.
I
in
don't-
He
both
does
films.
nothing.
I have no idea
He
why people love Boba Fett
No
for
idea.
all this. Yeah. I have
You know
no
what
idea.
it is? It's the
But
fucking
here's-
armor.
Well, but
Yeah, he
that.
just
But
looks
also
cool.
here's the other thing. Like he survives canonically in the books. Like
Mhm.
when before the legend, like the Legends books, he survives the Sarlacc pit. I can't remember how on that one. Probably similar to how he popped out in the Book of Boba Fett.
I had always heard that he had a force field he generated, and then he crawled out. Very similar.
I have the
Okay.
Legends comic actually called like Blood Ties or something that
Is
shows
that
you
where
how
you-
he's
Okay.
I have it on my shelf. I'll have to go pull it out and look again because I don't remember either.
Like I know he does.
I believe I had always heard was
Okay.
that he had some force field. Don't know why he didn't have it when he got smacked in the back, but whatever.
It
He
would-
wasn't ready for that one, guys.
What did
He
he
didn't
jump
say
to?
go.
yeah.
All right.
But yeah, so I don't know. Boba Fett is popular for whatever reason.
No idea. why.
But going back a little bit further, when Luke is talking
Christmas
to Jabba, right? And he is very clearly standing on the viewing grate for down in the pit and not on the trap door, which was right in front of Jabba's little
Yeah, little
stand or whatever.
Yeah.
But when he pulls the lever, he's standing right on top of there, even though he
walked in front of
wasn't
him.
that
Yes.
close to him.
No, he still walked. He did. He walked in front of him.
He does. He
and
walks a
st- and,
little
like,
bit
steps up
closer to get
to it.
closer.
A little
to
bit
Leia.
closer, but he wasn't
And
close
then-
enough because that
but
pit
then
is
the-
right in front of his block. Like it is right in front of it.
But then the guard, the one guard, like grabs him, and they kind of like scuffle a little bit. Like he gets onto the trap door.
But before the scuffle happens is when C-3PO tries to tell him that he's standing on the trap door.
Because he had moved up there.
Look, I think the blocking of a scene is the least egregious thing of this whole movie.
Yeah, because if you're going to talk about some bad scene like blocking, when Leia gets Han out of the carbonite, okay, they have the whole scene, and then they're turning to go. They're facing this way. They hear the laugh, and they turn around to see Jabba. And when the camera goes to in front of them, there's like a whole group of people magically right there.
Right
Like,
behind some
literally-
random curtain. You guys
No,
didn't
no.
see that?
No, like, so that was the one with Jabba. But when they had turned, they're originally facing the stairs to get
Yeah.
out, and they
Yeah.
turn to Jabba. And when the camera is facing Han and Leia, there is just like 20 people there. How they got there in a split second, or how they missed those 20 people.
It's
Is
because she's
interesting.
wearing like a helmet with like literally this much
The
visibility.
helmet was off.
Like, oh, I guess you're right.
No,
there.
no, when she was sneaking in there.
when she was
I think
sneaking in, yeah. And
But I think you didn't. They weren't there. She snuck down the stairs, took him down, went down on him, and then,
do you
Saul-
think it was
Saul
a
Jabba.
bit of derogatory action, like direction in this movie to have her bump into the wind chimes when she was trying to sneak around? They're like, "You dumb girl, you're gonna be bumping into things."
Yeah, she gets really
asked to
dumb
see
in
that.
this movie.
Yeah,
and
I-
it,
Yes,
like,
she did.
That's the
Yeah,
thing.
she
is
gets,
she
like,
was
really
so
girly.
badass. But you
Yeah.
know, I heard, or I don't remember where I heard, but I always thought that it was kind of like a thing, like she was not happy with the gold bikini, like, oh, you're objectifying me or this and that. But I heard somewhere that in the first two, they were trying to make her very much like a heroine, right? Like,
Mhm.
we're not going to objectify you. You're going to be like the male cast members. You're going to be a hero. And she was like, I want to wear something sexy. And that's when they were like, fine, put her in a gold bikini. Like, I kind of remember hearing her
There's
say something like that in an
mention
interview.
of that in IMDb. I don't remember because they're
I'm just gonna
There's a
throw
lot of
out
stuff
that
on
the
IMDb.
white dress without a bra on was pretty hot. So I don't know.
Yeah, nothing
And she was a
hotter than
badass,
gaffer's
like-
tape on your boobs.
Yeah.
Well, I know the only complaint I remember ever hearing that she had about it was that it was like the bikini itself was like wired.
Mhm.
So like
you couldn't move
when
in it.
she couldn't move in it, and when she laid down, like her cooter was like flat
Mhm.
out.
They had
So
to,
apparently,
yeah.
go ahead, Jordan.
I was gonna say they had to pretty much after every take have two people come in and like re-push her boobs back in and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they there was apparently a few different outfits. Like it's all the same like design, but like few different styles. And yeah, like there's shots where there was a wardrobe malfunction and they had to reshoot it because things kept popping out. So
I think I even heard this was like the scene she's in with these were like the most like the highest takes because it happens so frequently
It
that they
makes
had to
sense.
keep doing more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do know that she was a lot like a professional wrestler in a lot of ways in interviews, where like it depended on the time of like whether she hated George Lucas and Star Wars or she loved it, really changed her like views on a lot of the stuff. So
honestly,
because
Or
like
how
there was
high
that,
how high she was too.
that's also
I
true.
think
But
that
there was
tracks
a
with most of
really
them after this movie.
there was a really long stretch where she just didn't even want to talk about Star Wars anymore. She hated Star Wars and was tired of interviews and would really shit on a lot of it. And then would just pretend like later on where she was like coming back because they were going to bring her back and stuff. Where she was like, "Oh no, I love it. Oh, it's great. I had a great time. I'm so glad to be a part of it again." It's like, I'm sure you are.
That's most actors and actresses though. Tom
Yeah.
Welling, he hated Smallville. Actually, during Smallville, he kind of got sick and tired of fans. And then it's only recently that he's kind of come back around to being like, "Oh yeah, no, fans are great." Like, I mean, he's always liked the fans. He's just hated the fandom.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You know,
sense.
I will say one thing about Carrie Fisher is that I've always thought that she's very like genuine in the sense that I've just love listening to her interviews and stuff because she's like that kooky aunt you have, you know, like, or even if you don't have, you just know of a kooky aunt. And like anytime I saw her at a convention or I've heard her do interviews, I'm just like, what it would be like to be in your mind for a day. Like, you just feel like the most eccentric person ever.
She was at Indiana Comic Con in 2015 or 2016. I can't remember which.
16, I think.
Okay. And the line was ridiculous, obviously.
Mhm.
But you could tell who met Carrie Fisher because she
Glitter
would
bomb.
baptize you in glitter.
I love it. See,
And
this weird
it was
quirkiness.
wonderful.
It's great. I love when I saw her at Star Wars Celebration. She brought her dog along, and the dog like sat on her lap on the couch while they were doing the
Perfect.
interview and everything.
Yep.
I'm like, this is amazing.
Mm.
And I think what's his name? James Arnold Taylor. He's the guy who does the voice of Obi-Wan in Clone Wars. He was conducting the interview, and they brought up about the Life Day Star Wars holiday special.
Yep.
And they were talking about like, you know, did you enjoy it? What do you think of it? She's like, I keep a copy of that at home for when I want people to leave a party. I just throw that bad boy on and everyone gets out.
Dude, I love
Great.
that
That's
movie.
great.
It's I watch it every year. Every Christmas.
It's bad, but it's a good
I've
bad.
never seen it.
It's a good bad. There's
Should
you
I
can-
add it to the list?
You should, because I need Ron to watch a scene of a Wookiee pretty much watching a VR striptease experience. I
God,
need
that
him
thing
to
is
see that.
That's a messed up scene.
It is so messed up and weird. I do not. It makes you feel gross.
And our first canonical appearance of Boba Fett in that movie.
It's true. I feel like every time I watch that scene in the holiday special, I feel like I'm watching Pee Wee Herman in the porn theater. Like,
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I don't blame
Shout out to Chuck's hometown.
Yeah, shout out to my hometown.
Yeah,
Appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
So I also want to point out that 3PO, when he's talking to the Ewoks, he basically sums up the first two movies in like 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Yep.
Just saying.
And is one of his languages like
Pig Latin?
vehicles? Or I was going to say
Vehicles?
vehicles because like he
I mean,
mimics
it's
the
just sound
vehicle sounds
effects.
really well.
Yeah. Who knows?
It's actually that guy from Police Academy the whole time. A lot of people didn't know that.
Yes,
Perfect.
I love it.
Okay, so when Obi-Wan's spirit comes back and talks to Luke,
Yep.
like his Force ghost, not only was he disappointed in Luke for not wanting to commit patricide, He also leaves out the part where he dismembered and left his father to burn to death.
Well, of course.
He's
Okay.
like, yeah,
It'd make him
Darth
mad.
Vader definitely killed your dad. It wasn't me, cutting him up and leaving him to burn on Mustafar because that definitely, wouldn't
Definitely happened.
fit my street creds.
Okay. Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old how this works.
Okay, so
Qui-Gon,
we record a show.
Qui-Gon got whacked and was fine and was there. And they burned him in that? Did they burn him in that one?
Yeah, they burned Qui-Gon. What do you mean he's fine? He died. I don't.
No, well, like his
He
body was
didn't
still
disappear.
present.
Oh yeah, his body was still present, and then they burned
Right.
him. Yes.
Okay. And then a bunch of other Jedi just get murked.
Yeah.
Nothing happens.
Sure.
But then Yoda and Obi-Wan, they just poof out of thin air.
I have an explanation for this.
Okay.
Qui-Gon was the first one to figure out how to get his Force Ghost to come back. So he was like, not like it was a very new thing where he taught Obi-Wan and Yoda how to do it. So they were ready to go. Like they knew what to expect. They knew how to transition into that, where Qui-Gon had a less linear path into the Force to become a Force Ghost because he was kind of the first one to ever do it.
It's kind of like when somebody makes a recipe and then you follow that recipe. You follow the recipe because you've already got the recipe. That person that was making the recipe had to do a lot of trial and error to get the recipe right.
Yeah, or like how no one could land a 900 on a skateboard till Tony Hawk did it, then everyone could do it after that. Like once you know it can be done, it's just like a lot easier to do.
So then why doesn't Vader pop?
We don't know Vader doesn't though, because
But he burns his body. Yeah, we do.
Oh yeah, he burns his body. Or does Vader might not pop because he's more machine now than man? So you gotta, there's not enough man left in him.
Only the man parts that were left got popped.
Yeah,
So
that would have been funny as
they're actually
shit.
just burning the machines just to make
burning all
absolutely
the
sure.
machinery. Yeah, we see his helmet. We don't see there's a face inside of it. It's just the helmet.
It's just to pollute the planet.
Force
Exactly.
Endor. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, why not? Endor doesn't have any more problems.
None of this is actually proven in anything written. This is just my idea of it. I think that this again
totally
is just plot
fair.
inconsistency.
That's good. But I think that actually was proven in Obi-Wan, wasn't it?
Follow
the show.
It's proven that Obi-Wan that Qui-Gon does come back as a Force Ghost because Yoda always said, "Oh, Qui-Gon learned how to commune."
Yeah, well, isn't there also like a cartoon episode where Yoda actually talks to Qui-Gon's ghost?
I don't remember. Does he in Clone Wars?
I remember him talking to Darth Bane.
Yeah, he talks to Darth Bane. That was in the season that got cut short, 5 or whatever.
Yeah,
because he goes to that planet.
6.
Yeah, 5 or 6. He goes to that planet and talks to Darth Bane. But I don't know about Qui-Gon.
I don't recall that.
I mean, there's a lot of episodes. I don't remember.
It could just be a
Okay.
something I misremembered. But
lastly, Luke knows that Vader is his father.
Mm-hmm.
Luke saw Vader apparently find Jesus and throw the Emperor and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically speaking, then everybody else, that's still Darth Vader's, but like that's still Darth Vader. This horrible, evil, awful person, and they're gonna give him an honorable burial?
They don't though. Luke goes off by himself to do it, himself.
Oh, that is not implied here.
Yeah,
he's just standing there by himself. You don't see anybody else.
All you see is him.
Yeah, but everybody else is celebrating, and they're all in the same spot.
But they're celebrating. But then you see Luke return to the celebration after. Now that he's done, kind of like honoring his father.
I guess it was okay. Okay. Lastly, then also that was evidence that Darth Vader is dead. Shouldn't the body not be like I don't know? He's also a machine. Shouldn't we be like trying to figure out codes and shit that he may have stored in there and stuff? Also, they blew up one fucking Death Star. War's over? It's
Well,
already
Oh,
over.
it wasn't.
It's not. We know it's not because we've
I know,
seen
but
all
they're
the
all
action.
acting like
But they-
things
yeah,
over.
That's
correct.
because they killed the Emperor. It's not because they blew up the Death Star. It's because they killed the Emperor.
It's kind of like, the figurehead is gone
And
and they're
they didn't.
celebrating the figurehead's gone. And that's
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, no, Jordan's right, and Ron's right. It's the Emperor's dead.
It's-
That everybody's celebrating, which
It is the equivalent of George Bush saying "mission accomplished" like on the
Yeah.
cruiser.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. Just because you got the guy doesn't mean that the cause or the effort is over.
yeah, because and there are novels, there are books that talk about the aftermath, aftermath trilogy, and some comics that deal with the what the fallout of this, and it's not good. Like there's another like last stand for the Empire, and it doesn't work out for the Empire. That's where the Battle of Jakku comes from.
But it works
So-
out enough, like, because if the New Republic actually finished the job, we never would have had the First Order.
Correct.
But because they went back to their bureaucratic ways, we allowed the remnants of the Empire to amass another army in the outer rims
Yeah, and go
create
hide.
the First Order.
Yeah.
Because instead of being like, hey, this rebellion, we've been doing pretty good and let's keep doing it this way, they're like, nah, let's just go back to how we were doing it, the way that got us here in the first place. Like
Mhm.
but it's also reminiscent of real life government. So
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
God, I hate these fucking movies. All right.
I know.
So, has anybody ever noticed how like vindictive as fuck R2 is? Like that dude does not forget and does not forgive.
Chopper's worse.
Choppers.
Okay,
What
that's
did
fair.
What did R2 do? Oh, you mean like when he was shooting the Ewoks?
Yeah, you learn.
Yeah.
I mean, that was playful.
Oh, also,
Was it?
Ron had brought up the prisons that were left or whatever, talking about Wookiees. I think we can all agree those Ewoks ate those guys, right?
Oh, yeah,
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just making sure.
Especially when they find, like, Luke finds Leia's helmet sitting there. There were 2, quote, dead stormtroopers
3.
there as well.
3 dead
Was it only
stormtroopers there.
3?
I'm
Either
pretty sure there were 3.
Either way,
Anymore.
yeah, he finds the helmet. He finds the speeders. No troopers anywhere.
Hey,
They definitely ate him.
Teddy
Yeah, I
bears
mean-
got to eat. All right.
I was gonna say we always talk about like how cutesy and stuff the Ewoks are. They are eating
they're
people. What are
fucking
you
murder
talking
bears.
about?
They're
They
the
are
gremlins.
murder bears.
They are
Listen,
Yeah,
gremlins.
it's
Yeah.
great.
Very realistically, just like a real life bear, I would probably lose an arm or a limb because I would pet it.
Mhm.
Ewoks
Yeah.
are the same way. They're just smaller and they look cuddlier.
Yeah.
Like. Also,
so-
did you guys like? Is it just me, or does the Emperor actually get horny for Luke's anger at the end of this?
Oh,
that's-
he's so horny.
Like, it's not even like a like an interest in the forcing. It's just like, oh, that's right, get angry for Daddy. I mean, for the Emperor,
I mean,
and he is hardcore on it. Like,
Yeah.
why else do you think he has to wear some loose fitting robes? I mean, he's got robes and stuff.
Well, and like, I think this definitely opened our eyes to some like more mainstream King stuff that we weren't expecting, like in a lot of ways. Because just like the way he acts, the weird like vibe, the weird vibe that Vader and Luke have in this is like super weird. We got like brother sister like kink in this too. Like they never. I'm just saying the sexual tension between Luke and Leia never breaks.
didn't go away.
It doesn't go away. It gets
So
just
much
weird.
so,
I'm
so
gonna
much
go-
so that it made Han feel uncomfortable.
Well, he did that like thought. He was like, "Oh, you are brother and sister." He's kind of thinking about everything that happened. He's like,
But no,
Wait a minute.
but see, then his thought process went to, wait, if I'm banging the sister, maybe the brother's in for it. There's no way that wasn't like a.
I think I've
a
actually
weird
seen that
love
video.
triangle going on with that. I'm gonna go back to what I said in Empire Strikes Back about that documentary I saw about the father of 1,000 children, where people who are related, who do not know they're related, are going to be more attracted to each other because you see a part of yourself in them. So if they didn't know it, it makes sense they would be attracted to each other.
That's fair. Luke was trying to see a part of himself in Leia.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also, could
We
you
don't know
make
which
it
part.
the weirdest, most seductive, most uncomfortable way to say that? Like, just say she's your sister, man. Like,
Mhm.
why are you beating around the bush? Why are you being weird about it? Why are you being like a annoying little like drama queen about it? Just say, be like, oh, by the way, you're actually my sister.
Yeah.
Because
Vader
Luke's the kind of little brother that would be like, "Oh, my sister's in the shower." Oh,
He's actually the older brother. He was born first.
that's even worse.
Yeah. But speaking of that scene though, like because of the prequels, I never thought anything of the scene of when he asked Leia about her mom and all that. And she's like, oh yeah, she was beautiful, and I don't really remember much of her.
And sad.
Yeah. And then now after the prequels, it's like, no, she died like
But
a
see,
minute after you were born. Like,
I
what's
think
going
that's
on?
fine retconned, because what I got from that is that she's in tune with the Force to have, like, not that she remembers her mother in memory, she remembers the feeling of her mother, which was
Sure.
sad because her husband just like went to the dark side.
Yeah.
And yeah.
There's also
Or
Obi-Wan, the show Obi-Wan, that kind of helped build on that as well.
Mhm.
So,
or the fact that Jesus Christ, I wanted to call him Oregano, Organa, her,
male, yeah,
dad, probably had pictures of her mom, like in his
possible.
special
Very
office.
possible.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Speaking of, real quick, just because the comment repop back in my head, we were talking about how Leia removed her helmet or whatever when she was in Jabba's thing. There's a scene where we get the reveal that Lando's there, where he like slightly pulls down the face mask. And I immediately just go, Lando, we know it's you. You're the only black guy in the universe.
Yeah.
Like everybody else also knows it's you.
I was wondering how he was able to work his way undercover in there. So I'm like, yeah, you're the one black dude. Wouldn't everyone
you're
know
like,
who you are?
There is one other black guy. He's in the background when they're having the meeting about the planning the attack on the Death Star. There's one black guy and he's just like sitting there. And him, like, if you watch, legitimately, him and Lando make eye contact with each other, like, so we're the only two black guys in the universe.
We're
All
here.
right.
Which
We're
there
gonna
also-
die first, huh?
there-
Okay, cool.
There also is some female pilots that you see in that scene, but according to what I saw on IMDb, you don't actually see them flying. Actually, there is one that you do see flying, but they dubbed her over with a male voice because apparently it was like a negative connotation, kind of whatever, of females dying in battle.
Yeah, they said it was gonna be too upsetting to see a female die in battle.
Yeah, like that. Just
Meanwhile, we can watch Wookiees or Ewoks get absolutely murked. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And those were female Wookiees. Come on.
Yeah, you don't know. So the head lady there once again makes the comment of a lot of good people died to get these
Bothans.
plans.
Bothans died.
Many
Yeah, the
Bothans
Bothans
died.
But okay, so what was it that they got the plans for the new, like, for where to shoot the Death Star?
Where the Death Star was,
Mhm.
how to take it down, and how to take down the
Chuck,
shield.
you understand what happens when Rogue 2 comes out?
Yeah, that's
Rogue 2. Rogue 2 died.
I'm actually surprised there hasn't been like the follow-up movie of like essentially Rogue 2. Yeah.
The thing
Yeah,
is,
it's called
in the first
A New Hope.
movie, the plans were actually stolen. In this movie, it was like this was part of the trap.
It's a
The
trap.
Emperor let the plans be taken on purpose so that they would fall into his trap.
Right. But
Which
just
the-
also
the-
murked a bunch of people.
Sure, because you got to
Well,
make it
that's
look serious.
But
Yeah,
okay,
you have to fake an assassination to get those, cred, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's how that works. Yep.
Apparently the it's a trap line originally was supposed to be it's a trick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I like it's a
No.
trap better.
Yeah, it's a trap.
Trap
Works
is so
way
much
better.
better.
Joey likes trap. It was said on here. It's canon. Joe, do you know what a trap is?
I know what a trap is.
Okay. You agreed with me really quickly, so I was just
Big
making
trap
sure.
music guy. That Joe.
No,
It's
that's
a
not
music.
forward.
Music.
Trap bunny music. I wasn't totally sure because I had gotten confused because there's a line that Leia says about hopefully when she's talking about the docking when they're flying the Lambda shuttle in, and she's like, yeah, it's old codes. Well, hopefully it works because we paid a lot for them. I wasn't sure if those planes were also part of the bunch of people who got killed part, but I
No,
guess
I
not.
think that the getting of the Lambda shuttle was separate.
Right. Yeah, give me that movie.
Yeah,
give me
I
the
wanna
movie
see that
where
movie too.
they negotiate and have to draw up a contract and like sign it and pay off people.
Also, I thought that Lambda shuttles were short range shuttles, which is why they always used them to go from cruiser to cruiser. I didn't realize they had the hyperdrives on them.
That's why they paid extra.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
Yeah,
putting the
they
spoiler
had
on the
they had that really cool plot engine that the Millennium
Yeah.
Falcon had.
back. They're like, can you
I
give me
also
some
love
here?
I love the Lambda shuttles. I think they're probably one of my
they're cool.
favorites.
They're
Oh,
the
yeah.
ones that should have been called Y wings.
Yeah. What-
Yeah,
Does anybody
Speaking
know
of-
why where the Lambda name came from?
Greek.
Oh, Greek for lambda my balls.
Cool. Yep.
I don't know how none of you saw that coming. All right, cool, sweet. Got one. Got him.
So so when the final attack happens, they get to the Death Star and they start like getting in attack position. You see, the Falcon, X-wings, A-wings. You see B-wings, but then you don't see them again. Apparently, because the B-wings were so like skinny, would have been hard to see, according to IMDb, hard to see in battle. So they just kind of like went over here and just didn't do anything.
Well, then that brings up a question I have for you guys, because this was one I brought up. Okay. A-wings, first time we're seeing them. Cool, not cool.
I thought they were cool.
They're okay.
A-wings.
The ones that are more like triangular shaped.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
ones that essentially the Jedi Starfighters are based off of.
Pretty much, yeah. Like
Yeah.
For the most
a
part.
little bit, yes.
Yeah, I always liked the A-wings.
okay,
I
good.
did confuse
Me
them for snow speeders a lot of the time, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
100%.
also, they were unlockable in one of the Rogue Squadron games, and they were like so fast. They were like it was hard to control.
You could play them in 2.
Yeah.
Star Wars Battlefront 2 in the space
Mhm.
battle. That was when I actually first noticed them. Yeah, they're cool. I always liked A-wings.
So then my next question is B-wings are first off it's not really a B. I don't know why they're called
B stands for
B-wings.
I don't
bomber.
know.
But yeah, but what do we think?
Oh.
Do they look cool?
I thought they were cooler than I gave them credit for, but I also had a toy of them, so I always
Mhm.
thought they were way cooler.
Me too.
But it was cool because they actually swung around the cockpit.
Yeah,
It
and you
actually
could,
adjusted. It was really cool.
You could like bring the wing out and everything too. Like went.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, cool.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
But I bring that up only because do you guys remember the 2000? I think it came out. Planet of the Apes with Mark Wahlberg, right? Tim Burton directed.
Yes.
The ships
Vaguely.
they fly at the beginning of that movie are B-wings. They're identical. I had both toys. They could have been made from the same mold. They
probably were.
Probably were.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
always thought that was so weird. I'm like, why are there B-wings in
Oh.
Planet of the Apes?
Planet of the
Lucas
Apes.
needed some money. He sold the.
I should put Planet of the Apes on the list.
Ah,
It's technically
You know
Why?
what you should put on the list, you fucking coward?
God damn it!
Yes, the Mummy.
We found out, Jordan. We found out that there is a comic book series based on the movie of the Mummy with Brendan
hold
Fraser.
on. Did you actually look into it? It's a
Yes.
prequel to the third movie.
Scorpion
That's
King?
fine. We
Wait,
have
no,
to
that's not
watch.
Scorpion King. That's the
It's
Dragon
the Emperor.
Emperor.
Yeah, Dragon
Right.
Emperor.
No,
So
listen, we don't
we'll
even have to watch
all
that one
three.
though.
We'll have to watch all 3.
No,
We'll have to
technically
watch
we
all
have
3.
to watch all 6.
Yes,
we have to
'cause you
watch
Scorpion King, Scorpion King 2.
the Scorpion King
Wait,
3.
I didn't know there was a third one.
There's a third one.
I didn't know there was a
Rock's not
second
in it
one.
anymore.
You what?
Rock's
Was
not
The Rock
it?
in the second one
He
too?
was only in the
He
first
was
one.
he was only in the first one, and then because the second one goes back to when the Scorpion King was younger, and then the third one
Oh,
goes
that's
back to
right.
when he was even younger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not great. Yeah, I don't care. Put him on the list. Bring Jordan back.
And then you also have to do the new Mummy as well with
No, that's based on
Scientology
Universal
guy.
Monsters. That's a Universal Monsters.
see,
Mummy.
we go down this rabbit hole.
No, but that was the Mummy was the Universal Monster Mummy as well. Technically, it was.
But they
based
didn't
off
make
the
a comic book for the
Yeah, they didn't make a comic.
what the fuck is
Actually,
that?
that's not. That's actually not true. They did. It was
Shut
a
up,
one shot because it was on Free Comic Book Day.
That
I
doesn't
remember-
count.
I mean,
Free-
If that's
Free
the
comic
case,
book
I got
dated.
to put Jumper on here. I got to put a bunch of other
Yeah,
Other
Jumper's good, too.
comics.
I mean, you could watch all the
Yeah, I love
Firefly.
Jumper.
You can
Why
watch
don't we just
Firefly and
watch good
Serenity.
movies? How about that? How about we
That's
just
true.
We did.
Serenity should
Watch
be on
this
the
movie.
list.
Yeah, you guys, if you don't
I
have
think it is.
Firefly and Serenity on the list, you need to put it on
Well,
there. 'cause I have
Firefly
all
wouldn't be on the
comics.
list. Serenity be on the list
Yeah.
because we do
Firefly
movies, not
would be-
TV shows.
No, but the book of
We do movies.
No, dude, they have the whole series of Firefly comics, but we only do movies. We don't do TV shows.
no,
The
but
movie
the TV show
is-
is a movie. It's just an 11-hour movie. It's one tiny season. You can do it.
One tiny season.
I think they also isn't there like a battle or a war or something? They're using the gear from Starship Troopers.
That's-
I know they did.
Power Rangers.
No, I know they do it
No,
in Power Rangers, but I thought
they
they did
did
it in
it,
the
yeah.
first episode of Firefly too.
They did. It's the Battle of Serenity Valley. There's some
Yeah.
Starship Trooper-esque stuff in there.
When
for
did
sure.
Serenity come out? That was 2008.
Serenity 2004.
2004.
I've never
3?
seen it. I've only watched one episode of Firefly and I couldn't get into it and I gave up.
that's
It's one of
fair.
my favorite shows.
Ah,
And I
same.
know
I like it a lot.
that's me.
Hear
That's
that?
definitely.
I always hear that. I don't know. I have too many people I don't like that are really into it that I'm just like, I
Chuck,
don't wanna
Chuck,
be
stop
associated.
basing things you like on people you know.
I mean, to be
I
fair,
have
it is hard not to do that.
It's because it's just like, man, if I tell somebody I'm watching this, they're not gonna shut up, and I really hate that.
Oh,
Mhm.
dude, that's when you just don't tell them you're watching it. You watch it, and then you appreciate it for
No,
yourself.
They find out. I don't know. They
I
find
just
out
love
somehow.
Baldwin, whatever his name is. Adam Baldwin.
Adam
He's
Baldwin,
so
yeah.
good.
We got to see him at the Comic-Con.
Him.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Chuck.
Is that the
And I love it.
the castle guy?
No,
No,
that's Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion.
Oh,
He's
I,
the-
I watched Castle.
I got to meet Kaylee.
Julie State.
I got to meet
That's cool.
Shepherd Book,
oh,
Same.
that's
before he died.
Yep.
Ron Glass is his name.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
and Adam Baldwin.
Adam Baldwin's so cool. I do love Ron Glass too. I wish he was in more things because he's.
He can't be. He's dead.
Well, yeah, but I mean, back in the day.
Well, you know what really sucks though?
CJ, man.
I got his signature like 2 years before he died, and I'd gotten it for a friend of mine because he had the Shepherd Book comics,
hmm
so I'd gotten the signature for that, and he never for a while he didn't pay me for it, and like 2 months, if it would have been 2 more months and he wouldn't have paid me for it, I would have never seen him again, and I would have just had that to have, and
That would have been nice to have.
yeah, it would have been nice to have.
And I totally forgot that our favorite guy ever, Alan Tudyk, is in the show too. I mean, come on.
I love Alan Tudyk. He's amazing.
Yeah, what a cast.
He's a leaf on the wind.
Yes, he is. I mean, we
He
can
doesn't
all
story anymore though.
we can all overlook the fact that Joss Whedon was involved. Everyone
Yeah.
else is great.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, yes, 100%
Yeah.
yes. All right, so
And
I confuse Joss Whedon with the guy that ruined Star Trek Next Generation.
Will Wheaton.
JJ
Will
Abrams did.
Wheaton.
Oh,
Will Wheaton? I love Will
I
Wheaton.
Joss
Next
Whedon. No, I just confused the two.
He
I always
confuses
think
the
they're
name,
same
is what he
person.
said.
I got you.
Yeah, it's the name. Joss
Okay.
Whedon, Will Wheaton.
that's fair. That's fair.
Also, because I know Sheldon. Is it Sheldon Cooper hates Josh? No, Will Wheaton. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
It's his arch nemesis. So here's
Yeah.
something I did not know about this movie. I actually learned after 30 years of watching this movie, I have learned this was not directed by George Lucas. It's some random dude who did like music videos. Like, I don't even know who this director was. I looked at his filmography. I'm like, I don't recognize anything that he's
That
done.
makes that's
I mean,
interesting.
Oh yeah,
George Lucas-
Richard Marquand, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you want to know why?
Probably because George Lucas wanted to direct it and needed someone who wouldn't fight him on everything.
No, he actually wanted Steven Spielberg to direct this.
Mm.
But since Lucas was actually directing this film, not under the Directors Guild,
Mm.
Spielberg could not actually direct it.
That's right, because
So-
he was not in the union part of it. Like,
Correct.
he was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
How does that work?
Well, because he funded it himself.
yeah, he
can
funded
do
all
whatever he
these
wants.
3 original ones by himself. And then when the prequels came out, he actually had, a studio backing him for that one.
Mm-hmm.
So were any of the actors union?
The actors were,
But they didn't need
director
to be.
wasn't.
Yeah,
the director was.
he didn't
gotcha.
need to hire people from the union if he didn't want to.
Yeah, but he did.
Okay.
Thankfully.
Yeah, I just thought that was
But
so
I feel
weird. 'Cause I don't remember there being a random director, which it makes sense that Steven Spielberg should have directed this because it is a lot more fantastical than the other ones. It has that kind of Spielberg charm to it a little bit.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
Here's my final thought. We're now at the end of the movie. First off, I went back and I watched the original Yub Nub Doop 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 Yub Nub, the song that they took out for the things. I don't like the first song. It's awful. It's weird. I like the newer version of the song.
Yub Nub is classic though.
I know, but like it's weird. So I know I'm in the minority probably that Yub Nub is the song everyone wants, but I like the new version they did. But in both versions, what are they posing for? Like right before the credits happen, they're all kind of like standing there like they're posing for a picture.
Yeah.
What are we posing for?
So they were posing for a picture. What happened was they were running behind. They needed product or the production pictures, So they were taking cast pictures while they were still filming.
I just assumed that one of the Ewoks was like doing a painting, and they all had to stay in the same
like
spot.
a Polaroid. What?
Yeah, actually, they were. It was a medal ceremony again, but they were just like, "Oh fuck,
really chill."
We're just waiting for Chewie. We're waiting for Chewie's medal.
This is out of all the Star Wars movies, the ending to this one is like the most weird to me. Just like, what are we doing?
It was almost like they couldn't. They just didn't know how to end it. They're like, all right, everybody just
Originally, they were going to have Luke walk off, like go back to Tatooine and walk off, like as a
Billy
loner.
D. Williams is just standing back there, like clapping his hands, like having a good time. Like, did you guys even know you're filming the ending of the movie right now? What are we doing?
Probably didn't. Who knows?
It was actually it was actually the cast like closing party. Just roll the cameras.
So how do you guys feel about young Anakin Skywalker, Force Ghost versus?
I hate it.
Holy shit! Do I remember people being so fucking mad?
It's just dumb. Like it didn't make any sense to put him in there because he wasn't that person when he died, and that was like literally the actor's like only thing where it's like his actual face.
Well, I also heard that Hayden Christensen hated it because he wasn't told when George Lucas brought him in to film it. George was just like, hey, just like look up at me, look over, look back. And he had no idea it was to be the Force Ghost that was going to be interjected. He's like, if I would have known that, I would have played it way different. Like, because he just kind of looks like he like woke up from a nap. He's like,
he looks,
what's going on?
He looks like the John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, like meme of, hey, what's going on here? Yeah.
So I would I prefer David Prowse as the Force Ghost.
Me too.
Funny enough, just a little side note, David is actually good friends with Ian McDiarmid, and when he came in to film his scene where Luke takes the mask off, he had no idea why he was there. And Ian McDiarmid even told him, I asked him, was like, hey, what are you doing here? And David's like, no idea. They just told me to show up. But anyway, so I like to, with the young Anakin Force Ghost, I like to, like, my explanation is it goes back to when he's young because that's when he was still good. That's when he was still part of the light.
That was like right when he killed all those Padawans.
He was just before that.
I'd argue, though, that he was redeemed before he died, which means he came back to the light as older.
Exactly.
So technically, he was back to the light side at that age.
I prefer David Prowse.
I think it was just Lucas looking to piss people off.
Exactly.
He's like, hey, we got this technology of being able to re-edit things and add shit in. Why don't we just do this? I'm surprised they didn't shove Jar Jar Binks in there somewhere.
He did. They did. He's at the during the end credits. You hear him say, "We are free."
Yeah, he's dancing up on the top of the palace. And
wow, I must have fucking toned that out completely.
Because as soon as I heard it, I'm like,
granted, they all sound very similar. Is that racist?
Would Jar have lived
that was long? So racist.
Yeah, he's in the Aftermath books. He's not doing great in the Aftermath books.
He's a fucking Sith Lord. Of course he's still alive.
Well, there's that too. But yes, he is. He's still alive at this time. Also, still alive is Rex, because we maybe see him in this movie. Maybe.
Wait, we see Rex?
Maybe.
Oh,
So-
maybe.
Oh yeah.
So when they go to the shield generator base the first time, there's an older guy with a white beard.
Oh yes, I've seen
Fans like to say that's Rex. According to IMDb, according to like Wikipedia, it actually is a different guy, but they never actually said if it could be Rex. Like it could be one of those things where Rex could just be like he just changed his name to be this guy. So
Was Rex the one who went crazy in Rebels? I thought he went crazy, like he went senile in old age in Rebels, which would have
no,
been
that
like
was Wolf.
6
I
years
thought
before this. That was who?
Wolf,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I just remember it was a crazy senile clone who was riding around
Yeah,
in one of
'cause
those AT-ET things or whatever.
I'm pretty sure that was Wolf. No,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
Rex is there with the rebels throughout the rest of the season. Like if I remember correctly.
Hmm.
I think
That'd be
I gotta
cool. I
double
like
check.
that. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
good
just
with that.
it's a fun little fan thing
Yeah.
that no one ever really got confirmation.
So I have a fun fact that I thought was pretty cool. Is the Rancor roar was made by recording a Dachshund and then playing it back at a lower volume. And I'm like, hey, I have a
Yeah.
Dachshund. That's so cool. My little dog is a Rancor.
I know the sound, the like ambient sound of Jabba the Hutt was the sound guy's wife's casserole that he would
Mhm.
stir.
Cheese
Yep.
casserole. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
The slimy, like,
Ben Burt. So the sound guy, Ben Burt, he would just have his microphone literally everywhere, picking up sounds of everything
yeah.
and mixing it together to make all this stuff.
He's
He was a
amazing.
sound master.
Like the laser shots literally were like a wire, like a electrical cable. He went and he would like hit his finger on, and it made the laser sound. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's just so cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Did you guys know this? So John Williams, he has a son named Joseph Williams, who's the lead singer of Toto.
Really?
I did not know that.
Did not
Interesting.
either.
Yeah.
But it makes
No.
sense that he'd be in the music like his dad.
Yeah,
So.
but he's in Africa, I guess. I don't know. So
Well, no, he's wanting the reins in Africa.
he's blessing the rains
Yeah.
down in Africa. Yeah, he doesn't actually.
That's
go
why
there. He
Africa
just
doesn't have any
blesses them.
vampires.
Yeah, he just blesses those rains. Yeah.
So one thing from my childhood that I have been waiting for and yet did not see, unless I missed it, when they re-released the action figures, that I think were in correspondent with the first time this was released on Blu-ray, when they were adding in all these additional scenes, they had a run of like extra like deleted scenes or additional scene figures. One of them is Luke building his lightsaber
Mhm.
in like a cavern.
Yeah.
But I did not see that in this movie.
So
not.
it's a deleted scene that they released at some con. Like it never was seen before, and then they released it, and he like is putting it together and starts it, and it's the green lightsaber. It's actually a pretty cool looking scene. I wish they would have left it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that scene, but I remember it being like the whole thing was that it was in the Blu-ray like release or something,
Mm-hmm.
and being mad that I was like, I don't think this is real. I think they're just making toys for the sake of making toys. Because I remember like the card art is like a screenshot, but it looks like it was drawn. Like that's how like
Like
weirdly
a
put
Ralph
together it was.
McQuarrie kind of thing.
Yeah, it looked really weird.
I don't remember
yeah.
that, but I do remember the scene, and it was a good scene. I also liked that all the promotional material. He had a blue lightsaber and all of it, and then like once the movie came out, they're like, yeah, give him a green one.
Yeah. I think they didn't because if I read correctly, they didn't want to confuse audiences of he threw away or he lost his lightsaber in
Mhm.
Empire and he just magically got it back. No,
Yeah.
that's why they had that scene of him building his own
Well,
lightsaber.
even Darth Vader says, "I see you've constructed a new lightsaber. Your
Well,
training
sure,
is
but-
complete."
Saying it and showing it are two different things. Like
Sure.
I wish they would have shown it.
That's why I'm
Coolest
saying
lightsaber?
that's what's
Coolest
that?
lightsaber, coolest lightsaber handle we've seen so far. Just the handles, not blades.
This one, it's sleek. It's the sleekest we've seen. I feel like.
Yeah. Out of any of them, out of
Oh,
any
you're
of
asking which one do we? think
yeah,
is
with like
cool?
what's your
Oh, okay.
favorite?
Dooku.
Yeah, I think
Dooku's
Dooku.
is cool.
The curved handle was just always really cool to me.
I like the hook at the bottom, like that loops around.
Mhm.
You know, I just thought that was
Yeah.
sweet as shit.
Yeah, probably. I really
think-
liked Luke's master, like green lightsaber. I always thought it was really because it didn't have that stupid box.
Mhm.
Vader's has like that box, and it doesn't make any sense because like where you would hold it is literally where
It connects into his robot hand.
Is that a theory?
Sure.
It is now. I
It is
said it on
now,
the show.
It's fair, super fair. Yeah, I don't know. Yoda also is pretty neat, but I mean Maul.
Yeah.
Also Maul.
I know. I was
Maul-
gonna say Maul because
But
like
it's also pretty long. Like
it's
pretty
long, but
Yeah.
you can use it one-sided, dual-sided. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's a shame he can never disconnect them.
Yeah, that
There
was
was one. Which is it?
Somebody
Oh,
does
it's
it.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah,
He can
Does he?
disconnect.
that's badass.
He can
Can
do
he
He's got one that separates. Yeah,
Okay.
because you can fight with it together or apart.
Or-
And
yeah.
I don't remember that.
Interesting.
I remember
It's-
what's his name in Acolyte had that had
Did-
two. He had the short sword
The
and
mini
the
one.
long one. Yeah,
Chimera
that was
had
pretty
it.
cool.
Speaking of
it's-
Acolyte, did you see the news? It got canceled for a
Yeah.
season 2. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
I thought
Not
they
so
were
bad.
doing a good job with it. I was like, I want to see more of Chimera.
Blame all the fucking Star Wars incels fans.
Yeah,
that,
I already blame them for everything.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
They-
I heard that they
review
had
bombed
like,
the thing before it even
lesbian
started.
scissoring, and that's how babies were born in it, or something, and everyone got real mad
Something
about
like
it.
that.
I just fell off, and I need to go back and finish it. But
Just watch
anyway,
the episode
Star
called
Killers
The
is
Night.
actually the coolest lightsabers because they were like police batons, and those were always really cool to me. I don't know.
Who was?
Anyway.
What'd you say? Darth?
Star Killers because they were
Star
like
Killers.
police batons because they had like the under he had the handle with the like that
Yes.
would go across his forearm.
Okay,
Was it in
Yeah.
Force Unleashed that you could change fighting styles?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
it
God,
was
that's
so
that game
good.
forever.
The
The
game
game
was
That's so
great.
good. I love
Yeah.
that game.
All right, kill count.
Alrighty,
Did we go through all the notes?
I think I got through all the notes, right, Rod?
Mhm.
yeah.
You good?
I mean, I had a couple more notes, but they aren't anything important.
Okay.
One of my notes was that the Imperial March always slaps because every time I hear it, it's just like
Mhm.
fucking right there.
100%.
The whole comment about flying casually and Chewbacca just looks at him like,
Dude, okay,
Fly
so
casual.
Star Wars kind of. I'm sorry, Family Guy ruined the original. Ruined the original trilogy.
Oh,
but
really? Did it?
Definitely, like makes me think of it every time I watch the original trilogy because the whole flying casually in there. I think it like what does it like pull up? It's
list lazily to the
leg and
left.
just, like walks kind of whatever, or like Vader sees Luke in the ship and it's Chris's head like ducks down. The Sarlacc pit scene where Luke does the nod to everybody and literally does a nod to everybody.
It just goes dirt.
Yep.
It keeps going. I love it. I think so Family Guy didn't ruin this scene, but the scene that always cracks me up the most is when Han and Chewie are gonna go knock the two stormtroopers out, and they're like, "But be quiet." And he's like, "Hey, it's me."
Yeah.
It's like if that best Han Solo line ever. Hey,
Yep.
it's me.
Yep.
I did appreciate in this movie where they're like, "All right, but be quiet about it" or something, and then Chewie immediately goes, "Arr!" It's like, shut the fuck up! Like we're trying to sneak up on these guys, you idiot.
Oh, I love it.
How are we doing,
All right,
Luke?
so-
Same as always. That bad, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so kill count. I've got a total of 102
Mm-hmm.
with.
I was and was like, "Man, good luck, Joey," because I'm losing fucking track.
Again, every time we have a battle, it's hard. I just have to kind of like guesstimate.
Granted, we don't know. Once again, I think my theory is correct. The stormtroopers are not actually dying; they're just being concussed by force because
Oh,
there
no.
is no burn marks from blasters. The
Well, no,
arrows,
because the
I will
Ewoks
agree.
fucking stabbing them.
Right, but the actual blasters, I'm still
That's fair.
still on the belief that it's concussive force and that those armor actually was doing something.
So I didn't count anybody that fell into the Sarlacc. Well, anybody that fell into the Sarlacc pit that wasn't cut by a lightsaber or shot into there. So like I didn't count Boba Fett as dying.
Because they'd still be
Because-
digested right now. They'd
Correct.
still be being digested. Yeah.
Correct.
Hmm.
But I have a total of 4 limbs. We've got 2 off of the robot in Jabba's palace that was getting pulled apart. We've got Darth Vader's hand, And we've got the radar dish on the Falcon.
Oh, the best appendage ever.
What about-
okay? Did this ever bother you guys? The like vocal mess up during that scene when they hit it, and then you hear Lando say that's too close, but it sounds like it's all echoey and in a room. His ADR. Okay, watch
Bad
that scene
ADR.
again and listen to the bad ADR they did on that scene. It always, since childhood, has bothered me. George Lucas will go in and add whatever, and he can't clean up the damn ADR. Come on.
Which is hilarious because apparently the Mon Mothma scene, they had to go back and do ADR on that because when she originally delivered the lines, there was a bunch of pigeons on top of the warehouse.
The studio, yeah.
Yeah, studio that they heard. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I got. Ron, bingo.
We've got dead parents, especially by the end of the movie. Dying mentor, responsibility thing, government interference, comic book logic, betrayal by a friend, the Wilhelm scream, animal cruelty, villain monologue, unexplainable science, ID reveal to the enemy, which would be Leia being revealed to Darth as
his
having
kid,
a daughter.
Yeah.
We have a reformed bad guy. We have hero kills. We have fight for control of something, and I added another one. We have meme origins in here, like where memes have come from things.
Yes. Okay.
Because
we should have had that a long time ago.
I know we should have had it a long time ago, but it needed to be added because
that's fair. We're definitely getting to a lot of memeable movies lately. Yeah, that's 15. That's 3 bingos. Holy crap, we did it!
Yay!
Wow. All right.
Chuck, Spawn Cape.
I mean, okay. The stuff I feel like we keep saying this in this 3 stretch is like the stuff they added looks fucking atrocious, but all the original stuff actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The music number unnecessary and sticks out like a sore thumb. Like that computer generated
monkey
woman,
whatever the hell it was,
in black. That's like the only thing I could like think of is what it looked like. Was like not good. Although the backup singers looked original, so I don't know.
They did reshoot because what happened was they had to bring the Twi'lek in as well. She was still in almost identical shape to when she filmed it originally, and they brought her in like 12 years later, and she redid her dance scene for it with the new music and everything. So they probably brought in backup singers and stuff too, and just did some reshoots on that scene.
Interesting. I'm gonna say. I mean, I think it looks. Some of the explosions looked bad. Everything. You know what actually looked atrocious to me? The speeder bike scene. It looks just like green.
Oh man. Okay.
Well,
I love that as a kid. I love that scene.
How they filmed it is they just walked through the forest at 1 frame per second, and they sped it up. So that's why it looks like really jagged and
Sam
weird.
Raimi on that one, did they?
Yeah, it kind of was. Did you know that whole area in the Redwood National Park that they filmed was scheduled for deforestation, which is why they could like blow everything up and cut things down, so it no longer exists. That area they filmed in is all logs and paper.
Damn, did not know that.
I'm gonna say 27 out of 72 Spawn Capes.
Okay.
I want someone to equate logic to all of these Spawn Cape numbers.
There's no logic.
Literally
no logic.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
We're just waiting for Spawn. Like that's
basically. Which we will not get to this year. So
closer than that.
Well, hold on. Where is
No, probably not, because we just barely broke into the 90s.
97, right?
95?
Nope, 97. Yeah, no, we won't get to it this year.
Wow, it looks bad for 97. Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like
Jordan. 95. Who had a bad feeling?
Oh man, 2 people. 3PO had a bad feeling when walking deep into a slimy dungeon. And Han had a bad feeling about being cooked alive.
Yep. A very bad feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Alrighty. So, out of 10, Jordan, what do you give this?
If I hadn't rewatched this and you were just going to ask me out of memory, I probably would have scored it a bit higher. It ruined it a little bit for me. I still enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a 7.62. I still think this is my favorite of the original trilogy, even though objectively it's not it's the worst. I still liked it, but I can't in good conscience give it much higher than like a 7.5.
That's fair. Chuck?
All right, is this a Star Wars movie? Yes, it is. Arguably the last good Star Wars movie ish, according to a lot of people. Not me specifically, but some people.
We're gonna get into some fun discussions in the next trilogy. Just saying.
I
have to watch them.
I don't love this. But I remember as I was watching this, I remember being as a kid, like I was bored with this. It's long. It's Luke standing around
2 fucking hours.
2 hours 15 minutes, but a lot. It actually ends at 1 hour 50 minutes, and then it just keeps fucking going for no reason. Like it was over. It's a lot of Luke standing around, watching a lot of really bad shit happen around him that he could have easily prevented if he had just like fucking done his job. Palpatine is fucking creepy. He's still creepy to me. I didn't like that. And it's just long. It's a long, drawn out story. They added a bunch of extra shit that they didn't need. I'm gonna say, but that being said, the space battle is awesome. Like that is a really cool scene, and it kind of saves a lot of the movie. I actually like the Ewoks. I was a big Ewok guy. I play in both Shatterpoint and Star Wars Legion. I play Ewoks because they finally released armies for them, so like I enjoy them.
Is that like an odd job things? Like they're so tiny that they don't get shot.
They're always at like a -1 to hit, pretty much. It's actually really awesome, and they can set booby traps. It's really rad. It's a really cool. Except for in Shatterpoint, they're all on their own. They're all at like a diorama base, so there's like 3 of them on one base. It's really cool. It's really awesome. I'm gonna say, 5.10.
Thanks, Chuck.
Yeah, no problem. I got you
They
wrong.
gave you the requirement of 2 decimal points and
Yep.
0. That's a number.
I'd give it to him.
Well, I round up. Anyway, never mind. Okay, so Ron, what you got?
The movie's not terrible. I still have some nostalgia for it because it's, Star Wars. Been watching this shit since I was a kid. Like, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of shit that doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of, plot holes, story holes, glory holes, whatever. But I really hate that I can't find the original versions because I don't like any of the stuff that was added in.
I
know you've got them. I know you do. But I don't like anything that they added in. I don't like the extra landscape scenes where they try to add in stuff and it looks like somebody took a cartoon and colored it in. I didn't like the Sarlacc and the Sarlacc pit. They could have just left it what it was. It was fantastically terrifying as a kid, being a big hole in the ground. It didn't need a fucking trapinch coming out of it. That's a Pokemon, Joey.
Okay, thanks.
I'm actually surprised he only said that and not something worse. So we should all be really proud of Ron right now, actually.
Fair.
Thanks, Chuck. But I'm giving it a 6.32 because this is my least favorite of the original trilogy.
That's right.
The only reason why it gets so high is because the Ewoks are fun.
Would you argue that this is a perfectly fine movie?
No, it's not perfect at all, Chuck.
It's a perfectly fine movie.
Joey, what did you give this?
So, is that right? Oh, no, that's not right. Hold on.
You forgot to divide it by 4.
Yep, that makes more sense now. Cool. I'm like, that is too high. This is. I'm there with Jordan and with you. Like nostalgia. If I didn't watch this right now, nostalgia would give this a higher rating. After watching it, it definitely it lowered it a little bit. It got to the point where there are things in here that I don't remember, and I'm not saying storytelling is bad because I still enjoy it. But there are some problems. But it's still Star Wars, and it's still I still enjoy it. I still enjoy it more than I did Empire, and Empire is a better story. Hands down, I said that last time. Empire is the best out of this original trilogy. But I still liked A New Hope over Empire last time. That's the whole numbers thing. Yeah, no, this one it's as enjoyable as it is. 2 hours is a little long. It didn't feel like it was 2 hours to me, but I also kept stopping it at times and like going upstairs and grabbing a snack or doing something else. Like so it took me longer to watch it because I kept taking breaks. That being said, like I said it before, when I watch the Star Wars movies, I watch all of them. And I always will. So this one, I gave it a score of 8.15, which gives us a combined score of 6.8, which will tie it at number 38 with Justice League: The New Frontier. It's just behind Batman Begins with a 6.97, and just above Danger Diabolic with a 6.73. I love Danger Diabolic. That was a good movie.
That was a great movie.
I think we can. I am a little surprised that Joey graded it so high, but I would argue maybe this is the first time Joey watched it without getting laid in the process. So, from what we've learned in past episodes,
so
we just discussed this last night.
Ronald, we were at a friend's band gig last night, and we were talking, and he brings up to Emily, my girlfriend,
good
about watching this movie and getting laid.
Actually, what I said was, Joey, I still have to watch Return.
Okay.
And then Joey's like, oh yeah, me too. And then I was like, yeah, Joey said that every time Star Wars is on, he gets laid. It doesn't matter what happens. And Emily's like, no, I watched the movie.
A weird look, and I looked at her. I'm like, yeah, no, like when any Star Wars on, we are watching the movie. So yeah.
Oh, poor Joey. Also, want to know how I know she doesn't listen? Because I felt like that would have been called out a long time ago.
I mean,
way to be a supportive wife, Emily. What the fuck?
They're not married.
Oh, even worse.
Partners.
That's
She
right.
doesn't have an excuse. You should still be trying. You're not even.
Yeah, write that in the vows, Joey. Jesus Christ.
Listen to my podcast. I think that might actually not get us married if that were to happen. But yeah, no, like that's not a terrible spot. Just looking at it right now, it looks like it's just behind Revenge of the Sith. It's just over Solo. So Star Wars lies between two.
Well,
it's like the middle of the ground.
That has to nuke the score. So they even when we try, they still all kind of pool up on themselves. So
well, and like I said, when we get into the sequel trilogy, it's going to be very interesting.
I think it's going to be very divisive.
I think somebody's gonna burn it to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I've only ever watched them once, so
I have almost watched them once.
I've seen Force Awakens like 5 times in theaters the opening week. Last Jedi 5 or 6 times opening week. I've watched both of them multiple times since they've been released. I've only seen Rise of Skywalker twice.
Mm-hmm.
Which one's that?
That was in theaters. The last one, number 9.
Oh, okay.
I have not watched. I've seen bits and pieces, but I've not watched that movie since theaters.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm happy for the first 2.
Yeah, we'll get to it. So because it's been so long, and because I am going to be coming at it in a more analytical view, maybe it'll be better. I don't know.
Joey's going to be a little more anal about it.
I'll be a little more anal. No, and I've said this numerous times. There's like 1,000 wonderful things in that movie. Just start to finish, the movie did not work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there is one really confusing scene that just ruins it for me every time. So, in that last one,
is it possibly Lando's daughter? Anyway,
no, it's the fact that they kiss, and I keep thinking that they're brother and sister still.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It fucks me up every time, Joey. Anyway, Jordan, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at BSN Craft Beer. That's it.
Hey, you can find me. You know where you can find me? Patreon.com/professional casual. That's where you can find me, because if you go ahead and give to that 301 tier, not only will Joey's labor finally be awarded appropriately, but you get access to the Discord. That's where I am. I'm hanging out. Yo, I haven't been on social media for a little bit now, and it's been really nice. Discord is the future of where you want to be to hang out and enjoy the things that you want to enjoy. Social media more and more has become nothing but advertisements and sponsored posts and people trying to sell you shit. You know where they don't do that? In the Discord, specifically the professional casual Discord. So go hang out in there with like-minded people, chat it up, and give us ideas of what you want your Patreon content to be. Patreon.com/professional casual 301. That's the tier to jeer.
You still offer
so
up the free shirt?
Yeah, if you sign up for the 1 year tier, the annual tier, if you sign up at the 301 annual tier, the first 5 people that do it, I will personally buy them the shirt of their choice from our web store. You can get Rogan the Hutt, or not Rogan the Hutt. You could get Snoopy shooting
The Waynes.
the Waynes. And hopefully by then you will be able to get Xenomorph Union Buster. So
I'm working on it.
And
really excited about
Scab Robocop.
And Scab Robocop.
and Scab Robocop.
What if we do it a front and back?
What if
Ooh.
okay, what if we do this instead?
That might
Instead of
actually
any
cost more money.
t-shirt,
I don't
any
remember.
t-shirt of your choice, instead of that one, we only get 5 of the variant of Xenomorph and RoboCop Scab together, and the first 5 people get that shirt, and you will only be the 5 people to ever own that shirt.
That's
If we do
actually a really good idea.
That may push some people.
I like that.
So there you go. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We've made a decision. So be one of the first 5. Annual tier 301. Annual tier. Patreon.com/professional casual. Ronald?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Good at This Game. You can find my art page on Instagram at Good Art This Game, and you can find me wherever you can find this podcast. Joey?
Yeah, I gotta get on Discord more. Social media sucks. But you can also find me on social medias on Instagram and Threads at Comic Book Rundown. You can email us comicbookrundown@gmail.com. Rate and review us on your podcasting app of choice. If you do, we'll read an upcoming episode, but you peons don't ever email us, so fuck off. We've got merch over on Redbubble and TeePublic, and our song was done by Cam. Our next movie,
Dr. Father came.
Dr. Father Cam, sorry, will be Predator
Give him
2.
these honorary titles.
Whatever.
Predator 2.
From 1990.
Oh no, Concrete Jungles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Oh,
I should rewatch
no.
that before I listen to your podcast. I've only seen that movie once, and I
Hey, you
have it
got
on
a month.
Blu-ray.
Oh
You got a month. You're fine.
no. Joey, no. Have
I've
you
never
ever
seen
this?
it.
You've never
I've
seen
never
this.
seen it. So,
Donald
Okay,
Glover.
so you know
Yes.
Jason Takes Manhattan?
oh god, yeah.
Okay, so you know all the good parts in that?
Him kicking a radio? That's about the only good part.
No, the boxer scene I always really liked,
I
where he
guess
fights
so.
him on the
Yes.
roof and stuff, and then his head is on the siren in the next scene. It was great. So take all the good parts of that movie and then put in worst parts. and then put in Danny Glover. That's the
I was
only
gonna
way
say.
to explain
I
it.
was gonna say the problem
Yeah,
is Danny Glover.
Yeah,
love it.
Danny Glover was not the choice. But I haven't seen this in a very long time. So maybe I'm gonna look at it because my expectations will be so low that actually it's pretty enjoyable.
We'll
But this
see.
is notably a really bad movie. So especially if you
mean-
love the first one like I do.
Yeah, the first one, I mean, we gave it some good ratings. So
Did we?
I mean, it's just well,
You
Yeah,
should.
I
have.
did. I specifically did, yes.
I mean, it was all about 6.5. That's good.
It's peak Arnold.
Yeah, it's true. It got a 7.49, so
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just frustrating because like there was no need for it. Like we'll get into it in that episode, but like
Sure,
there was no
sure.
need for it. They were just trying to capitalize on how successful the first one was, and they didn't have a good script, and it
That's
didn't make
literally
sense.
everything in the 80s and 90s, though.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
and 70s. But
Anyway.
all right. Thank you all for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.
Scoop, 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 Scooby Doo doo, Scooby Doo doo, doo 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 doo, and Scooby Doo.